I'm here with Peter Luff, the Chairman of the Business Innovation Skills Committee, to talk about the updated report on pub companies. First of all, I'd like to ask you, in general terms, what is your assessment of the changes that have been made since you published your last report on pub companies in the summer?
Well, I really want to emphasise first that we stand by everything we said in the first report. Every word of that stands. But we do think there have been some changes which have the potential to make real improvements to the lives of lessees. But the record of the pubcos isn't terribly encouraging, so we're not confident that will happen. So what we're actually saying is we'll give them until a year of the new codes being in place to see whether actual real changes happen or not. This is absolutely their last chance, though. They have no doubt about that at all. Otherwise, we firmly believe politicians will have no choice but to regulate, to intervene, and to make a reference to the Competition Commission.
It's obviously been quite a few years now since the original Trade and Industry Select Committee report, and it's been a while since the Beck report. Why not just say the Competition Commission should investigate now, or the government should take action?
It's a real temptation to go for a cheap headline and say Competition Commission now, but the trouble with that is that the Competition Commission reference it would take probably something like 4 years to see its way through to conclusion. There's absolutely no guarantee the Competition Commission will come up with the right conclusions anyhow, and maybe they come up with similar recommendations to the ones in our report. So what we say is, let's just see whether the pubcos can learn the lesson of history, realise this problem's not going to go away, realise their treatment of their lessees is not acceptable, and actually make these new proposals really work. And the reason I'm more optimistic than I might have been is I think the BII is determined to make them work, and I think everything hinges, as we say in the report, on the effectiveness of the BII as an enforcer of these new codes.
That brings me to the next question, really. What aspects of the changes that have happened are you most impressed with, and what are you perhaps least impressed with?
I'm most impressed by the way RICS, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, has responded to the changes. That's really encouraging. And also, I think everyone involved in the IPC, all the campaigners, the component parts of that, welcome what RICS has done. So that's really good news. I think, though, what we're very concerned about is the way that the BBPA just won't enter into a dialogue with the IPC. It declines to do that. And I say to the BBPA, make no mistake about this, one real test of whether or not the changes are working or not, as you tell me they will, is if the IPC says, yes, we think they are working. So the attitude of the IPC to the BBPA is going to be a really important determinant, and I just wish the BBPA would engage constructively with them.
Okay. I mean, can you really trust the pub companies to change?
I am not confident we can. I wish I could be. Our problems would be much, much less severe if I could have confidence in their willingness to change, but I can't. And that's a matter of great sadness to me. I think many of the pubcos do understand that there are issues they have to address. I think many people in the BBPA understand that actually the old codes, the weaker codes, were actually not being enforced even. So there's every reason for scepticism. But it's just a chance that the combination of the RICS changes, the new codes, if they're in place in time, which we call them to be, their proper enforcement of the BII, the establishment of PERS, the rental review mechanism, it's just a chance that all these things taken together might make real changes for the better. And we think we want to give the whole industry a chance to achieve that outcome. But this really, really is their final warning.
How would you measure whether the steps that have been taken are successful?
That would be for a committee in the next Parliament to decide. I mean, I know some things I would do. One of the things that's really important to us was having the quantitative survey of lessees, which informed our previous report. I hope they might think of doing that again. I think more anecdotes will obviously matter, the flow of correspondence that the committee gets, that the chairman of the next committee gets, in the next session gets, that will matter too. But I think perhaps in terms of mood music, if the IPC, members of the IPC were very critical of RICS when we began this process. They're now saying RICS has got it right. I would like to see the IPC being able to say, on the basis of evidence and change, the same thing about the BBPA and the pubcos.